Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today I'm in this 2023 Bentley Bentayga Azure, which has been kindly lent to me by the lovely people over at Bentley Manchester. You really must check them out. It's an experience in itself. I was like a kid in a sweet shop wandering around their showroom. They're also a Bugatti dealer, which I didn't know. They had a limited edition Bugatti Chiron in which I didn't even know existed. Certainly hadn't seen one before. Anyway, back to this Bentayga. A couple of years ago I did a video with an early Bentayga and I was impressed with it overall. One thing I didn't really like about it though were the rear lights. I felt it let down an otherwise excellent design. The rear just looked very plain, which is weird on a car which is anything but. Happily though, in 2020 Bentley gave the Bentayga a facelift. They got rid of those old dull rear lights and replaced them with these stylish oval ones. It's such a subtle thing, but it's completely changed the rear end of this car. There are other differences too, which I'll get onto shortly. I guess firstly though, we should talk about your options. If you think about buying a car like this, then you do have several choices. There's the Range Rover, the Porsche Cayenne, the Aston Martin DBX, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, the Lamborghini Urus. Now, you might dismiss them as being all the same, but actually, they all offer something very different. I think the Bentayga is one of the best all-rounders because it offers a little bit of everything. Let's talk appearance. I'm aware the style of this car is somewhat divisive. I'm a fan though, always have been. I love the fact that it's a blatant status symbol. It's opulent beyond compare. I've got a quick piece of advice. If you're a wallflower, if you're a shy, timid person, then you really shouldn't consider one of these. This is a magnet for attention. It gets looks and stares wherever you go. I think with this facelift they've really nailed it, and yet it remains true to Bentley's ethos. It's an imposing, powerful continent crosser. This particular example has the optional black pack, which does tone it down a little bit. It looks quite stealthy. I think personally though I'd prefer it in a lighter colour with all the chrome. You know, everyone I've shown this car to has had exactly the same reaction when they've seen the interior. It's a reaction of very few words, just awe. Beautiful, resplendent, magnificent. They're all words which would flatter any other car, but for the Bentley, they don't quite do it justice. It's decadent yet dignified. The attention to detail's unparalleled. It's top drawer quality. You get the sense that this car's been crafted rather than fabricated. You have to spend some time in the Bentayga to take it all in. Everything's covered in the finest hand-stitched leather, and as if that wasn't enough, it's all been done in a very interesting pattern as well. Everything you touch feels soft, warm and interesting. It's a real feast for the senses. The seats are not only heated and cool, but they'll also give you a massage as you drive along. The steering wheel's finished in the finest leather and it's also heated. With this facelift model you get a slightly improved dash and infotainment system, and I absolutely love those central vents. I think they've been designed to look like the Bentley wings. And I mean, look at the quality of the clock. It's unreal. From the moment you open the door and take a seat in a new Bentayga, you're met with this overwhelming sense of contentment. It's unusual. You're in your very own safe, protective cocoon. All is well. Nothing's a problem. And that's no coincidence really, because this Azure trim, now Azure used to be a model in its own right, but now it's a trim. It's been designed to improve the well-being of the occupants, and it does just that. If it were any other car maker making a bold statement like that, you'd just dismiss it as marketing flim-flam. But you just know with Bentley there's been a whole team of people who have letters after the name dedicated to accomplishing that very goal. The materials used have been chosen specifically to stimulate certain parts of the brain which cause that sense of contentment. You can tell I only got a C in GCSE biology, can't you? Anyway, whatever they've done has worked. I've never felt so calm. Drive the Bentayga Azure and you'll instantly feel relaxed, content, happy. The improved technology is pretty good, but I'll be honest, there's nothing here which has blown me away. You get two cup holders down here, some more storage there, but something that is new is this wireless charging area down here. The infotainment system's touchscreen, which is quite quick to respond, but you have to reach a little bit too far. It would have been better if they'd have fitted some sort of iDrive control dial down here. The quality of the display is very good. The clarity is sharp. This example comes with rear media too, and you get your very own picnic tray tables. And I must say, the name audio system is superb. Under the bonnet there are now only two engines available. After a long and faithful service, the old W12 has been sent out to pasture. So instead there's a 4-litre twin turbocharged V8 with about 450 horsepower, like the one I'm in today, or there's a 3-litre V6 petrol-electric hybrid. I can say with some confidence the 4-litre V8 is the one to go for. It suits this car really well. Wow, that's quick beyond belief. The power just feels relentless. It's like a sudden surge. In terms of what it's like to drive, then I was surprised, pleasantly. You'd expect a luxurious Bentley to be a floaty, ethereal experience, wouldn't you? Well, this isn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still rides beautifully, it's nice and smooth, but it's far sportier than you'd expect. It's every bit as comfortable as my Range Rover, but it's much sharper. This feels glued to the road, so you can go into a corner carrying a bit too much speed. And it copes really well. You get a nice V8 burble from the exhaust, but as you'd expect from a Bentley, it isn't too intrusive or vulgar. If you select Sport mode down here, then it does get a little bit louder, but nowhere near as crass as an SVR. Sounds lovely, actually. It comes with an 85-litre fuel tank, and so far I've averaged 15.4 miles per gallon, which isn't great, is it? I was really expecting this newer, lighter car to be more frugal than my 5-litre supercharged V8 Range Rover, but it isn't. But of course, if you're considering a car like this, then talking about the fuel economy is about as relevant as pricing up a taxi to the airport on your trip to the Maldives. In the real world, all it means is every 400 miles you'll have to stop for more dead dinosaur juice. So far then, so good. I've really enjoyed using this car. However, I'm afraid to say it isn't all good news. Even though this car is the product of many specialists who are all leaders in their respective fields, there are a couple of issues. They're small issues, granted. In fact, you might accuse me of splitting hairs, but at £230,000 as tested, I think I'm entitled to split some hairs. So I shall split away. Firstly, the turning circle's poor. I can usually swing onto my driveway in one manoeuvre, but in this, I've got to back up and have a second attempt. Second issue is the PDC have got a mind of their own. You get within 2 metres of something and it starts having a panic attack. The rear legroom and boot space isn't as good or accommodating as you'd find on a Range Rover. Now I know they make an extended wheelbase version of the Bentayga, but this standard one just doesn't provide enough rear space. Also, the rear seats fold down manually rather than electronically, which does feel a little bit cheap. What else? Oh, the reverse camera. The display of the reverse camera looks odd. It's almost like looking through a fisheye lens. It gives you a false sense of distance. And the stalks on the steering column here haven't been disguised enough for my liking. As you're probably aware, this car shares a lot of parts with VW and Audi, and for the most part that's fine because they've disguised them nicely. But these stalks are exactly the same as the ones on an Audi TT I drove recently. Why weren't they disguised and wrapped in leather, or crystal, or myrrh? Oh, and I also don't know why the off-road package was an expensive optional extra. Granted, most Bentayga owners won't go off-road, but still, for a car of this price, why not just include it? The facelift Bentayga is still a relatively new car, so used prices are still quite high. They start at around £155. Yes, that's £155,000, so not everyone's in the market for this kind of car, obviously, but if you are, then I can wholeheartedly recommend it. It isn't perfect, no, but it is one of the best cars I've ever driven. I really don't think you'd be disappointed with it. What you have here then is a car which is as dynamic as a Range Rover Sport, as opulent as a Rolls Royce, but it doesn't look like you've rented it for a wedding like a Lamborghini Urus. It's a blatant display of wealth and status, but it retains its class and majesty. Thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. Cheers guys, see you next time.